My family held a reunion and told me it was adults only, so I left my 3-year-old with a babysitter and booked a hotel. When I got there were kids everywhere. My cousin said, "We just meant your kid." At dinner, I tried to speak but my uncle said, "Let's hear from someone who's done something with their life." Laughter followed. I left before dessert. On my way out, my aunt grabbed my arm and said, "Try harder next year, okay?" 2 months later, they sent a framed group photo with a sticky note, "Wish you were in it." I'm still angry about this, and writing it all out is the only way I know how to let it out. This happened last year, and I haven't spoken to most of my family since. I'm a 34-year-old single mom. My son Caleb is 3. He's my whole world. His dad walked out when he was just a baby. Never looked back. I work full-time at a dental office in Spokane and take night classes to finish my degree. Life isn't easy, but I make it work. My family? They've never respected me. Not once. I'm the youngest of 3. My older sister married a lawyer, has a big house in Phoenix, 3 kids, and she hasn't worked a day in 10 years. My brother is in Dallas, works in finance, married a woman who calls herself a stay-at-home influencer. They have 2 golden retrievers and no kids yet, but they throw dinner parties and post pictures like they live in a magazine. Me? I live in a 2-bedroom apartment and drive a 10-year-old Honda. I shop clearance and budget everything. I'm raising my son alone. But I'm proud of myself. I don't need anyone's pity. Every summer, my extended family holds a reunion. It rotates cities. Last year, it was Boise. The invite came through in March, group chat message from my aunt, family reunion. July 14th to 16th. Adults only this year, no kids, please. That line hit hard. I was surprised, but I figured maybe they were doing something fancy or trying something different. I even tried to see the bright side. Maybe this was my chance to be treated like an equal, not the single mom who always had to chase her toddler around. So I made arrangements. It wasn't easy. I had to pay extra for a sitter who would stay overnight, twice. I booked a modest hotel room near the reunion site. I even bought a new dress. I wanted to look nice, feel good, maybe talk to my cousins like I wasn't a second-class family member. I drove 7 hours to get there. Got to the hotel parking lot. Saw a minivan I recognized, my cousin Ashley's. Then I saw her. With her twin toddlers. I froze. Then I saw another cousin's kid running through the parking lot barefoot. A baby carrier propped up against the check-in counter. A stroller. I felt my stomach drop. At first, I thought maybe plans had changed. Maybe they forgot to update me. I found Ashley near the pool and asked, trying to keep my voice calm, "Hey, I thought this year was adults only?" She looked at me like I'd asked the dumbest question. "Oh. We just meant, your kid," she said. Then she gave this smile like it was all so obvious. "You know how wild Caleb can be. We thought maybe you could use a break." I stared at her. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask who the hell she thought she was. Instead, I just nodded and walked away. I felt my throat closing. I got in the elevator and cried alone in my hotel bathroom. Later, I made myself go to the dinner. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want them to know they got to me. It was a long table in a fancy steakhouse. Everyone was loud. Wine was flowing. Kids were sitting in laps, throwing bread, screaming, climbing under the tables. I sat next to my mom, who barely looked at me. I tried to join the conversation. I told them I'd just gotten an A on a research paper for my night class. It took me 2 weeks to write. I was proud. My uncle, holding a glass of red wine, cut me off. "Let's hear from someone who's done something with their life." Then he laughed. Everyone else laughed too. Even my mom smiled for a second, then caught my eye and looked away. I didn't speak after that. I just sat there, staring at my plate. When dessert was about to be served, I stood up and said I wasn't feeling well. On my way out, my aunt grabbed my arm at the door. She smiled, all fake and sugary, and said, "Try harder next year, okay?" I drove back to the hotel in silence. I didn't sleep. I packed up and left before sunrise. I picked up Caleb, held him close, and swore I'd never let him feel unwanted like that. Not ever. Then, 2 months later, I got a package. No return address, but I knew who sent it. Inside was a framed photo. Everyone from the reunion, smiling in a group. My sister, brother, cousins, aunts, uncles, kids everywhere. Right on the glass was a sticky note in my aunt's handwriting, "Wish you were in it, smiley face." That's when something in me broke. I wasn't just going to walk away. I wanted them to feel what I felt. They made it personal. So I would too. I didn't jump into revenge right away. I sat with it. I let that pain sink in and turn solid. Every time I looked at that framed photo, it reminded me how little they thought of me. Not just me, but my son. My 3-year-old who had never done anything to them except be born to the wrong parent. For a while, I ignored the group chat. I muted them. Let the updates roll in, new baby photos, vacation pics, more wedding planning for some cousin I barely knew. I never responded. They didn't notice. But then my mom called. She wanted to know why I was being distant. I told her the truth. That I felt humiliated. Lied to. That they singled Caleb out. That the adults-only message was meant to push us out. She acted confused. Like she didn't know what I was talking about. "Oh honey," she said. "You're being too sensitive. They were just trying to help you." By lying to me? She sighed. "Let's not do this. Family sticks together." I hung up. That night, I pulled out an old spiral notebook and started writing everything down, dates, names, things they'd said. I started remembering all the times they made me feel like garbage. My sister calling Caleb a surprise baby at Thanksgiving. My brother asking if I ever thought of giving Caleb up so he could have a better life. My aunt making a joke at Christmas about me finally wearing real clothes instead of yoga pants. This wasn't new. This was just the worst version of the same crap I'd been putting up with since Caleb was born. So I made a plan. I knew the next family gathering was coming up, my grandma's 80th birthday. It was going to be big. A weekend in Santa Fe. They'd rented a house. Catered food. Professional photographer. Everyone was going. I RSVP'd yes. But I wasn't going alone. I didn't bring Caleb either. This was my move. My moment. I reached out to a woman named Laura, my cousin Ashley's ex-husband's ex. We'd spoken once at a barbecue years ago. She used to be married to the guy Ashley cheated with while still married to her first husband. The whole thing caused a big mess. Ashley tried to keep it quiet, but Laura? She had receipts. Screenshots, text messages, even photos. Laura still had a bone to pick. I asked her if she'd be willing to help. She said yes. I also found something else. My brother's LinkedIn page showed he wasn't working at the job he claimed anymore. Hadn't been for months. Yet he kept pretending he was still at the same investment firm. On Facebook, he even posted fake office selfies. I checked public records. Bankruptcy filings. His name came up. Quietly filed 3 months ago. They were in trouble. Deep. I took my time. I printed the documents. I made copies of everything Laura gave me. I made one folder for Ashley, one for my brother, and even one for my uncle, the one who told me to let someone successful talk. Turned out, he had a DUI last spring. A bad one. Totaled his car. Never told anyone. I didn't want to destroy their lives. I just wanted them to see what it felt like to be exposed. To be made small in front of everyone else. Grandma's birthday weekend came. I showed up with a small gift and a quiet smile. I handed each envelope out privately, no scene, just subtle. "Hey, I thought you'd want to see this," I said, casual as anything. Then I walked into the middle of the party and raised a glass. "Thanks for having me. I know I don't usually get taken seriously around here. But it's nice to be part of the family again. Really, nice." I watched them squirm. Ashley opened her envelope in the kitchen. I saw her face change. My brother didn't even wait. He stormed outside after reading his. My uncle cornered me, red-faced and shaking. "You think this is funny?" he hissed. "No," I said. "But I think it's fair." The best part? I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to make a scene. I just let the truth do the work. The fallout wasn't quiet. By the end of the night, 2 people had left early. My brother never came back inside. My aunt kept asking Ashley what was wrong, but Ashley wouldn't say a word. She just stood stiff in the kitchen, holding her envelope like it was poison. My uncle kept glaring at me across the room, drinking faster than usual. My sister pulled me aside and asked what I'd done. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Just showing the family what success looks like." The next morning, the group chat was chaos. Ashley posted a long, unhinged message about betrayal and bringing up old garbage to hurt people. My brother followed with a half-assed comment about fake news and jealousy. My uncle didn't say a word, but my mom called me again. This time, she was angry. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she said, without even saying hello. I told her that if she ever wanted to see Caleb again, she'd better speak to me with some respect. Silence. Then she said the words that pushed me over the edge. "You're acting like a child." That's when I decided the gloves were off. I replied, calmly, "Good. Because apparently, children aren't welcome in this family." And I hung up. That same week, I took the framed photo, the one they sent me with the sticky note, and I mailed it back. No note, just one change. I taped a picture of Caleb's face right over the middle. Right in front of everyone. Grinning. Happy. 2 days later, I got a text from my cousin Jenna. She's younger than me, just out of college, always stayed quiet during family stuff. Her message said, "I saw what you did. Just so you know." I thought it was badass. That was the first crack in the wall. Then another cousin messaged. Then another. Turns out, I wasn't the only one they treated like an outsider. A few of the quieter cousins, divorced, gay, unemployed, not parents, they'd all been pushed to the edge over the years. They'd just kept quiet. Until now. So we started our own group chat. We joked at first, the exiles. Then it got real. We planned our own get-together. No fake smiles, no lies. Just real people, real stories. It was the best weekend I'd had in years. Meanwhile, back in the main family chat, everything was unraveling. Ashley stopped posting photos of her kids. My brother deleted his Facebook. My uncle, well, someone forwarded his DUI record to his church. Not me. But someone. They tried to regroup. They tried to ignore it. But the silence around me was loud. They knew what I'd done. And they knew I wasn't sorry. I still hadn't even used everything I had. I still had more. I waited. I let the dust settle. I let them think maybe I was done. Let them go quiet. My mom stopped calling. My sister unfriended me. The main family group chat went dead for over a month. Then the invites went out, Thanksgiving, at my uncle's house in Sacramento. Same uncle who told me to shut up and let someone successful talk. I wasn't invited. Fine. But Caleb and I weren't sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. I spent those weeks finishing a big paper for school, and then, finally, I graduated. I passed my last course with an A degree in healthcare management. For years of late nights, cheap coffee, and crying in the bathroom, and I made it. No one in my family reached out. No card. No text. Nothing. So I sent them something. On Thanksgiving morning, I mailed them each a photo card, like the ones families send out for holidays. Mine was just me and Caleb, both dressed in our graduation caps and gowns. Yeah, I bought one for him too, because why not? He stood on a step stool next to me, holding a tiny fake diploma. Inside each card, I wrote one sentence. "We're doing fine without you." Then I got on with my life. But the final blow came a few weeks later, by accident. One of my cousin's wives, Melissa, DM'd me on Instagram. She's not super close to the rest of them, and we'd always gotten along okay. She sent me a screenshot of a post from the family group chat. My uncle had written a long, angry message. He blamed me for the drama. Said I ruined Grandma's birthday. Said I was spreading lies. Then he said this: "Let's just not invite her anymore. She's toxic." But the twist? My mom replied in that same chat. And she said, maybe if we had treated her better, she wouldn't have had to remind us who she is. Melissa sent me that screenshot without comment. I didn't reply right away. I cried first. I hadn't cried for weeks, but this one hit different. Maybe it was too late for an apology. Maybe it didn't change what they did. But it was the first time someone in that group admitted I didn't deserve it. Then Melissa added, "For what it's worth, we're skipping Christmas with them. You in for hot cocoa with us and the kids?" That was the start of something new. A small group of us, me, Melissa, Jenna, a few others, started our own tradition. No perfect decorations, no smug smiles, no adults-only rules. Just food, laughter, and kids running wild through the living room. And Caleb? He never knew what happened. He just knows that now, we see the good cousins more often, and there's always room for him at the table. That family photo with the sticky note? It's in the trash. I'm not. I'm out here living. Raising my son. Building something better. They tried to shame me. They tried to cut me out. But all they did was set me free.